Just to answer some general questions real quick about the key before we get started. I do have my 4 set now, but you'll see throughout the video that I do neglect using it a lot because I'm not actually tracking it. So I'm going to set that up actually right now since I'm done with the key. And then talents and stuff. So I am playing Venthyr. The first reason for that is just because our group needed a Venthyr. It's just a pug group that I found. They didn't have a Venthyr in their group, so I just opted to do it. But this video can still apply to any Holy Paladin. Really, Venthyr is just the lowest healing value covenant. So if anything, this should just help because other covenants are just easier to heal on than Venthyr. So Venthyr should provide a lot of good examples of like kind of healing intensive moments. As far as talents go, Light's Hammer basically for damage, and it's really good in combination with like Ashen and Wings. And then we have the other main talents are going to be like Divine Purpose. I took this just because it's a nice baseline of damage and healing value throughout the entire dungeon. It's just a good default pick. If you feel like you're struggling a lot on the shard pulls or any specific bosses or anything like that in Halls of Atonement, it would definitely be on Fortified Week. It would definitely be the shards that you'd be struggling with, if anything. So if that's the case, take Holy Avenger, and then you just save this for every single shard pull, and you just kind of use it at either the start or like about halfway through the shard's HP, especially on Sanguine when you have usually more like 1 or 2 extras of the thrashes to deal with because of Sanguine healing. And then you can take Seraphim if you're extremely, like, you know, I guess if you want more of like a burst healing cooldown, because Divine Purpose is going to be better throughout the entire dungeon and help with a lot of things in the dungeon, whereas Seraphim's another thing. It's kind of like Holy Avenger, but you don't have to necessarily hold it for every single shard pull. So, and it gives you a nice benefit of damage. This is typically known as like the DPS talent, so take it if you're really comfortable and confident with using it and spending the holy power on it. But it's not necessarily the damage talent, but maybe we can get into that another time, or I can answer some questions down in the comments below if you're curious about Seraphim. I think Ellismere did a good write-up on like explaining Seraphim and how it's not necessarily the DPS talent that everyone thinks it is. And then other than this, Awakening, that's just our default choice because it optimizes really well with everything. And then Beacon of Faith, I just like this because it's a good default for Venthyr. You could go Beacon of Virtue and Save by the Light if, again, just like with Holy Avenger, if you feel like you're struggling a lot on those shard pulls or just dealing with Grievous in general, Beacon of Virtue and Save by the Light can be really, really powerful. But I tend to just like the passive healing benefit I get from 2 beacons and Judgment of Light. So that's why I took those. Other than that, Soulbinds, I took Theotar, and again, I'm Venthyr. I took Theotar because he is more of a healing-focused tree, and also when we press Ashen Hollow, we get a big versatility buff to the whole group, so this is especially good for the shard pulls. And then, if you were more confident and don't feel like you need the healing value from Theotar, basically just think of Theotar as like the healing Soulbind tree. He's going to help you do more healing, but you're going to do less damage over the course of the key. And then General Draven is going to help you do more damage and have more self-survivability. So if you feel like you are dying a lot, maybe to, you know, like the frontals, or you're getting hit by a lot of things, or you're just struggling to keep yourself alive, but other than that, you're doing pretty well on healing. Or if you just want to do more damage throughout the dungeon, then Draven is the solid option for that. So it's basically just, do you want to do more healing, or do you want to do more damage and have more self-survivability? So that's the Soulbinds. Yeah, enjoy the video. Alright, hello. We are healing Grievous in I believe this is a plus 22 Halls of Atonement. Sanguine Grievous Fortified this week. And we are playing Venthyr because our group needs it, because we don't have another Venthyr. So we're just going to be talking about healing Grievous on a less favorable covenant. And just drop Ashen right here at the start, drop all of our stuff, and really, when dealing with these shards, and especially these bigger pulls, it's all about just utilizing all of our healing cooldowns for just about every single shard pull. So here you can see I literally pressed Aura Mastery like right off the bat for that first thrash, and it ended up saving 2 people who made a mistake. Like, they probably would have both died without that Aura Mastery. And then we also only have 1 Curse Dispel, so we're not going to be able to dispel all of the Curse of Obliterations that go out. So I just need to be keeping an eye on when those Curse of Obliterations go out on people, and just make sure that those players are topped up. And here, I'm really just playing whack-a-mole at this point. Looks like we just lost the tank kind of randomly. So I'm going to keep my distance a little bit and not go in melee so I don't just instantly die. And then here I can like bop the Death Knight so that he doesn't die. I health potted a little bit too late there, or I didn't end up using it at all. That was my goal, was to use health pot there. I just realized I have old health pots on this character. That's really sad. Gonna lay on hands the Warlock. Can use sack on the Shaman for this next Thrash. And we're really just gonna try to play catch up here. It's gonna be a little bit rough. I think tank dies again here. And I'm gonna try to hold my bubble for as long as I can if there's another Thrash or if I get aggro on stuff. Still keeping my distance and kind of using range abilities here so I can stay alive and keep the pull going. Go ahead and hodge one of these dogs to help the tank out a little bit. And then we're really just having to recover here. Gonna heal up the Warlock. Keep healing the Warlock because he's the lowest HP. Can just use my personal on myself so I don't have to worry about healing myself. We'll reapply beacons. Still healing the Warlock. Because the main goal with Grievous is you should usually focus on one person at a time. So my goal is just to get rid of the Warlock's Grievous stacks. And then I can go from there. So now I can like work on the Death Knight. There we go. Death Knight's all good. Now I can work on the Shaman. And now I work on the tank and we're all done. And we successfully recovered. Not the greatest of pulls, but it also could have been a lot worse. We could have full lights. Now we'll have Ashen come up soon, and this Ashen and Wings, they both need to be saved for the next shard pull. Because ideally we want Wings for every single shard pull, and then when you're playing Venthyr, you can't usually line up Ashen with every shard, but sometimes you can, depending on how long your group takes or how the route is focused. But yeah, you want as much as possible for each shard pull, because that's honestly the most dangerous part of this dungeon on Fortified, is just getting through to the first boss. Once you make it to the first boss, the dungeon is kind of in the bag for most groups. There's not much that can go wrong after you get to the first boss. And here I'm just throwing my Holy Shocks into the mobs to actually do damage to them. Basically, the way you should think about using Holy Shock is you use it on the enemies if you feel like you don't need the extra healing value, and you feel like your Holy Power spenders are going to do enough healing to keep the group topped up. I could have definitely interrupted that. For some reason, I thought somebody else was going to get it. I should have just done it. I don't know why I even did that. Just going to hodge that rapid fire so I don't have to worry about it. So here, like, we need the Holy Shocks to do extra healing to the tank. But if the tank was healthy and these dogs weren't raging, that's where I would be like, okay, I can throw a Holy Shock onto one of them, that kind of thing. And then also, I'm not, unfortunately, tracking my... I actually haven't played Venthyr since, like, the start of this patch. So I don't actually have my tier bonus tracked right here, so I might miss some. I've already definitely missed some Light of Dawns. So don't judge me too hard on that. I'm honestly just going to Ashen this because we're doing the pull in a very strange way. Hopefully we can just kind of like pull the shard into this. I'm going to honestly tag the Collector and the shard and pull them in because there's no point in doing this small of a pull. Especially because we have dying here, so this will like let us... It'll pretty much carry us through this first Thrash right here. I almost have to do nothing, so I can save my Aura Mastery this time, unlike last time. And then we'll put Holy Shocks into the shard. You sack on that the DK, because it didn't look like he was going to get dispelled, but he did end up getting dispelled, it looks like. Really late. And we just need to watch for Siphon Life from the Collector. Get an Aura Mastery here for this Thrash. And there's the Siphon Life. We dispel that immediately. And here, I'm feeling pretty confident we can throw some Holy Shocks in for damage on the Shard. We just build up some Holy Power for this Thrash. Now we're going to do that thing where we focus our attention towards one player at a time to get rid of Grievous. So I'm going to focus on the Warlock. There's all the Grievous off the Warlock. Now we can work on the DK, and then I'll use my personal for this Thrash. And we can bop the Shaman for this Thrash. Makes them immune to it and gets rid of their Grievous at the same time. And then that's one less player that we have to worry about healing back up to full with the Grievous stacks. An oddly timed Wings proc, unfortunately, but that's okay. I don't know if we accidentally pulled that or if we... Okay, it looks like we did it on purpose. Gonna just stun the Dark Blade so the tank has less melees to worry about for a moment. Use Wings here. And then we're going to hold this Ashen for the next Shard, because it looks like we're not going to pull the next Shard for 2 minutes, which would be ideal. And then we have Ashen for every single pull. I guess I didn't think about it, because again, I haven't played Venthyr this entire season, but with the buffs, you now can definitely have Ashen for every single Shard on Fortified Weeks, which is really nice. Maybe even Tyrannical Weeks too, because I think usually the Shards, like in an ideal route where you're pushing a high Halls key, the Shards are spaced out usually 3 minutes apart. From my understanding. Whoa, he went flying. What did we use? Was that Thunderstorm? It was. Have a caster in the back. Just gonna lay on hands the DK here so he doesn't die. Use sack on the tank. Keep him healthy. Get stuff on cooldown. And here we're definitely just putting Holy Shocks into the mobs because there's almost no damage happening whatsoever. But I should still be spending Holy Power most of the time on Word of Glories and Light of Dawns to in order to get potential Wings procs. I definitely do need to be using Light of Dawn more though, especially when the group's like right here when the group's full HP. I just throw Light of Dawn because it reduces the cooldown on my Wings if Wings is on cooldown. Pulling this stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna Ashen here. It's not super ideal, but we've been holding it for quite a while. And then that way I guess it's back up for the boss. I'm gonna focus the high health Houndmaster here. Blind out of that. Gonna save Aura Mastery for the Shard though, since we might not have Wings or Ashen for it. We definitely won't have Ashen, but Wings might come back up by the time we actually go do that pull. But if we're doing it right after this, then we're definitely not gonna have Wings, so we're gonna want some something to fall back on, which is what Aura Mastery will provide us. I also have Bubble, and we'll also have Hand of Sacrifice. Take control of this. Oh, can't tell what we're doing. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna sack the tank here. It's taking a lot of damage. And then we will Aura Mastery, because those curses aren't gonna get dispelled. All of them aren't. Aura Mastery for this, so I don't really need to press anything else. I'll just Health Pot or Health Stone. And Hodge one of these Obliterators just to help reduce how much is going on. A bubble, since I'm not getting dispelled there. And then hopefully this bubble, no, it's not going to carry over into the Thrash. That'll carry over for a tick, so that's actually good. And then I'll press defensive for the rest of the Thrash, so I don't have to worry about healing myself, and I can even throw some Light of the Martyrs in, so I'm kind of spamming Light of the Martyr there to get rid of the DK's Grievous, and to just keep him alive through the Thrash. And then at this point, I will just press Wings to get it on cooldown so that it lines up when Ashen comes back up. Dispel the Siphon Life. And the Shard's going to be alive forever because of Sanguine. Best part about Sanguine Halls. And here we really just are playing catch-up until the next Thrash happens. So our goal is to just get everybody topped up before the next Thrash happens. So there we go. All the DPS are topped off. Throw some Holy Power into the tank. And then here we can bop the DK. Just, it doesn't really need to be specific. We're just bopping someone who isn't using defensives. Could be the Shaman or the DK in that case. And then now we are just playing catch-up again. The main reason I chose the DK over the Shaman is because the Shaman is the other player who has my beacon. So, if we bop them, then that beacon kind of becomes useless because they're not going to need any healing or anything. I'm going to go ahead and sack the Shaman. Throw a hammer on the ground just to help with a little bit of melee healing. And we're still generating Holy Power. Spending it, getting rid of the Grievous on the Warlock, getting rid of the Grievous on the Shaman. And then kind of just running along and spamming Light of the Martyr to heal up the tank before he goes into the next pull. I'll Hodge the Dark Blade. No particular reason. Technically the best stun is on like the Houndmaster or the Obliterator. And here we have Ashen back up just in time for the boss. With our wings. Putting Holy Shocks into the mobs to do damage because right now our Holy Power spenders will be more than enough to heal up the group. So like here I put Holy Shock in the mobs and then I spend Holy Power to heal up the Shaman and the Warlock. Finish healing up the Shaman so he doesn't get more Grievous stacks. And then we can start worrying about myself. I can, I don't have sack up. So instead I'm just spending Holy Power on the tank now. Gonna save my Light's Hammer just for the boss to line it up with Wings and our Ashen and stuff so we do as much damage as possible. Everybody up. Oh, I almost started eating before we pulled the Stoneborn. That's okay. Grab some more health stones, and then we'll take control of these. Here, definitely on this boss, we're always spending we're always putting our Holy Shocks into the boss for more boss damage. And then our Holy Power will always carry us through in this fight. There's almost no damage happening in this fight except for just individual mistakes and a little bit of tank damage. We just always put our Holy Shocks into the boss, and then we just spend our Holy Power on Light of Dawn if the group's full HP, and Word of Glory if they are not. Here, still just pressing Light of Dawn. That reduced wings cooldown. And we have wings back up. I just accidentally wasted it because I got a proc and then pressed it. The next time I want to press it and then try to get a proc, because it'll extend it. But if you press wings over a proc, it will just, it doesn't extend it, it just overrides it. So there, what I needed to do is as soon as I got that proc, I needed to wait to press wings until the proc was done, because I would have got an extra, like, you know, 9 seconds or something on wings. Here I'll just press wings for more damage with this Light's Hammer, because if I'm spamming Light of Dawn, we should be able to get wings back off cooldown at the same time that we have our Ashen back up. Yeah, we'll definitely be able to. We get a lot of CDR with Light of Dawn. It's like already almost lined up. And there's a very good pat here, so we can actually grab this Stoneborn before we go into the boss. I'm going to come stand over here. And I'm going to wait for this Stoneborn to change. Still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. There we go. You just teleport up here. And then he comes up here and we get a free Stoneborn for this boss with our Ashen. Oh, wings proc. Go, go, go. Nice. Get a little bit of this wings proc on the boss. And we'll Ashen. And using Light of Dawn if the group is full HP. Use Aura Mastery as we start dying. Technically I could save it because we have Ashen down, but in the future it's definitely better to save my Aura Mastery. We missed a lot of the imps, that's not good. That is okay. Our Light's Hammer here. You didn't get a... I don't know if we... Oh, okay, we're just tanking it. That's fine. You just bop there if it doesn't get hit. Lay on hands the... or actually, no. We just bopped him, so it's not going to let us. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that canceled the leap too. That's really bad. Means there's gonna be a lot of imps. Oh, here we go. I'm just gonna bubble in here since our dispels seem to be a little inconsistent. Cool, we got most of them, so that's what counts. Now we can lay on hands the DK. Brace for impact, we press sack, we use our defensive for ourselves, since we're taking even more damage. And we're just building holy power, spending it. Getting out of melee so we don't get hit by that leap. We probably don't keep both of these guys alive, but we'll try. Bouncing, wow, we actually did. Just bouncing Light of the Martyr and Holy Shock between them both, pretty much, since I didn't have any holy power and no real way to generate it. Gonna Hodge the Houndmaster when it jumps. Use wings here. I could have blinding lighted that. I don't know why I'm like spacing out so hard on interrupting these Houndmasters. There, we blind that one. Like my mistake. I can hard carry by just always interrupting the Houndmasters. I have plenty of stuff to be able to do it. And we're gonna save Ashen here for the boss, but I am gonna make sure I get wings off cooldown as well. Looks like we're good now. I could Ashen here for these 4 mobs, but the Shaman pressed Storm Elemental, so we're just saving our Ashen for the boss. I had to check my buff there, it just fell off. Or we haven't been using this whole dungeon, I don't remember. I need to get a weak aura for this trinket. I always forget about it.
Their pain shall enlighten you.
This boss is very much similar to the first boss, where we can pretty much just use exclusively our holy power spenders, and that's plenty to keep the group alive. Otherwise, we should just be sending holy shocks and mostly damage abilities into the boss and upkeeping stuff like consecration to do as much damage as we can. Gonna wait until I get this wings off cooldown to use my lights hammer. It is nice to line up with wings when possible. And there we go. Hopefully we don't walk the boss out of it. Kind of put it in the middle. No. Can't tell if it... yeah, it's definitely out of it. Oh, nice. He walked it back in. That's awesome. Thank you.
You must face your punishment. Their pain shall enlighten you. My flock needs me.
I'm gonna kind of pick a random section that isn't being focused by any players and put consecration down in there and try to do as much damage as I can to the individual tortured souls. Gonna press Aura Mastery here. Put Light's Hammer in one of these sections. Now I really am just building Holy Power and spending it on healing whoever. We're just kind of playing Whack-A-Mole here. Press Wings because we'll get it back up with some Light of Dawns. I'm gonna bubble here actually. I used my defensive at first, like as my first reaction, but I had 2 fixates on me, so I'm just gonna use bubble because then my bubble will come back up. the boss fight. Me close, but we definitely kill this boss in 3 minutes, so we're fine. As long as we don't full wipe or anything. We have Ashen on pole and everything. I'm going to save Ashen until we Lust, because Ashen with Lust is an incredibly potent cooldown. So if we pull the boss and Lust is not available yet, I'm going to wait until we actually Lust to drop my Ashen. Okay, so we're going to have a little less than 3 minutes to kill this last boss, so it's definitely going to be close. But on Fortified Week, this boss should melt pretty fast. I am going to use my Light's Hammer here, though, to help do some damage. A lot less than 3 minutes. Still believe that we are fine. This boss should take probably about 2 minutes. Let's go. I lost right away, so I'm going to drop my Ashen. Use my Intellect Potion. Same thing on this boss, we're just dumping our Holy Shocks into the actual boss to do damage, and then during the intermission is when we'll use Holy Shocks on players if we feel like we need to. If we don't have enough defensives rolling. But all bosses are very easy, and they don't do very much like healing intensive mechanics, so it's more just a matter of doing as much damage as we can. I'm going to try to stand in the way of 2 of these statues by standing pretty much under the boss. And then I will Aura Master here because it looks like we were missing a statue. Use my personal, and then we pretty much just heal the Warlock. Don't have to worry too much about myself. And then here we'll use Wings. Oh, I almost walked in. I was worried that it was going for the Warlock, so I had to walk a little bit further. I should have just looked at the statue, honestly. Yeah, this boss is already 40% health. We should be good. Then we have Bubble for this one, so I'm going to stand in the way of 2 statues again. And then I'll use my defensive, we'll heal up the Shaman, and then as I get about half HP, I'll activate my Bubble. So that I make sure it lasts the full duration of the ritual. Lay on hands the Shaman there as we get towards the end, since he's not pressing defensive. And we watch where the statue's going, it's going in melee. And we're just spending for potential Wings procs. And I'm always spending on the tank in most cases, unless somebody gets hit by something, because the tank has the bleed, which is very, 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 very deadly. Actually not a bleed, it's like a, I don't know what it is, it's definitely magic damage. Stigma of Pride. Definitely getting close, but we got it. That was good. That was a pretty solid key. Not bad for a pug group and stuff, so hopefully that was helpful, just talking through, like, you know, my thought process on healing mainly Grievous and just dealing with the mechanics of fortified keys and difficult trash packs and stuff while Grievous is also affecting it. So more of a like a healing focused commentary. So let me know what you thought, let me know what I missed, and thank you for watching. See you later.